Right, let's see if this works. Um, I guess you could probably tell me if the sound is all right or not. I'm doing some minor changes, so just let me know if the sound isn't good. All right, perfect. So I listened to a few short clips from the previous streams, and something that struck me was that there was a lot of background noise that I didn't want there. So I just did some adjustments to the microphone to filter out the uh, background noise that might occur when you have small children and a lot of traffic outside. Great. Okay, so let's pick it up. The only thing I have done since the last time I streamed this area was this. I started building this mountain, uh, which I wanted to give the area different sort of a different profile towards the horizon. So start from the starting area about here. You'll have the very open pieces to the left, where you actually have a hill that puts you higher up than anything in the surrounding areas, just so you get an idea of how large the world actually is. From this point of view, you'll be able to see basically anywhere on this side of the map, with the world dominant being this red tree, which will be a questing hub surrounding this area. And then towards the snowy mountains and the whole temple thingy over there is going to be. I haven't loaded them in right now, but there's a lot of snowy mountains covering the terrain here. And then, of course, the sort of the rocky mountainous area that transitions into the snowy area that we see. So if I just let me load this in real quick. So this is what it looks like when it's dressed with something and not just the naked terrain. So this pine forest area acts as a transition area between the snowy parts and the beginning more leaf forest style of the open landscape. So first of all, I wanted to blend the area in to sort of zone it in with the cliffs, just to make a good frame, as this part will act quite linearly in the demo. So we're going to lead the player into this um, area. There will be a few things you can do here. It's actually way bigger than it actually looks when you're up in the sky. So just to give you a sense of the scale here. But this is the size of a player. Um, so this area will have some hidden treasures and will, as I said, serve as a transition area toward a little bit more open part here. But since we use this frame, we can sort of more aggressively transition into a different type of biome, because you won't see from like the perfect summery area all the way over to the deep winter area. Um, and then we have this thing here that will serve as a goblin fort, an abandoned goblin fort. Um, and then we start to create the landscape transition into a snowy terrain here. And the further in you get, the more sort of snowy area does it become. When you get real deep into this area, it will be like you will have things like blizzards and stuff that will start playing. Um, yeah, so the whole idea is to create the framework now before we add the gameplay elements into the pine forest area. So the I started with the profile here, and I created a landscape mask to create some sort of tunnel over here. What I did then was to use a spline here that every X amount of distance it will spawn in an object. So this is actually 250 static meshes, and they are generated by setting a spline point and then moving it about, and it will spawn it along this spline path that I set. This, as you can see, it can help you to create sort of interesting things, such as world borders, such as these, or some sort of pathway. So I'll use this as ground for the a ground for the tunnel. So what I want to do now is to make a duplicate of this and start working on the walls. So since this has a very specific shape, I think we could probably just duplicate this one, create another one here, and then grab a random cliff. I just want to select the cliff and make sure I find it in the folder view. And then I can assign it. So we will spawn a bunch of other cliffs that are uh, higher on the vertical vector, like so. Now we can do one of two things. We can scale it up or keep a higher detailed wall, but have a higher scaled wall behind it. I'd like to do that because it generally turns the graphics generally looks better that way. But I guess we can see what we prefer. So I want to see if the instances of 250 is enough, and I think it actually is. Maybe we can reduce it a little bit more, maybe 100. Okay, so we don't need as many. That's 1, 15, 25, 75. Yeah, I think that's perfect. So what I want to do now is to create sort of a wall. And if you don't see this now because I already added a random rotation between 0 degrees and 360 degrees on the Z axis, but it would look kind of weird, I think, if we didn't randomly rotate this, because this is without rotation. It's looks very repetitive, and it's really easy to see that it's one mesh that's used. So instead, I'm randomly rotating these between a minimum degree and a maximum degree to get this result, to get more of a sort of jagged wall, I guess. So now we just want to adjust this tiny bit, or maybe not. Actually, we're going to drag this one like so. And then we make a copy of this one again. And the reason I take this copy is that that it's because I want to take the current spline shape, because I just changed the spline a little bit. So something like that maybe. I think that looks good. And we can allow ourselves to adjust it. Or actually, this might be good. Hold on, I'm going to get something for scale real quick. Let's check this one. So, how have you been doing, Miguel? Are you doing good? That's good to hear, man. I was planning on reaching out to you at some point pretty soon, just to spitball some ideas for the possible tracks we could create for this. Hold on. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I've spent a lot of time doing it like the manual way, and now I'm sort of over time I've built more tools to to be able to create these things way faster than before. Um, so I've done it the really slow way for a long time, just to understand the value of the tools that you can use. Yeah, so what I was going to talk about this general area, I was planning on packaging this game for you and just have you launch somewhere in this area and run around and well, try your hand at sort of the atmosphere and see if you had any ideas around what kind of music we could have here. Mainly because a lot of what we have is a pretty dominant kind of style, but I think we also need some sort of slower paced, more relaxing track that we can like a music that we can use as something to default back to wherever we are in the world, sort of thing. So we have this giant box in the sky here, which basically covers the entire world. And this one will trigger a backup music track we have if we don't have any local music going. And I figured a good slow sort of orchestral style of soundtrack could fit well here, because that is maybe a little bit more not generic. It maybe isn't the right word for it, but it fits better in more different circumstances, sort of. So I see now that we're going to have a little bit of issue with the player running around that might get stuck here. If you play, you might be able to bug yourself down like so. And if you're unfortunate, you might get stuck in a falling loop or something. So I think I'm going to handle that pretty quickly, um, either by just dragging this out in toward the bridge. And if that doesn't look good, I will try to decorate the foot of the wall, so to speak. Um, yeah, absolutely. We'll get something going. We can discuss some ideas. But I figured since you were already here, it was a great opportunity to just sort of quickly. Yeah, see you around, man. It doesn't fit there. Let's see it this way. I'm just going to hide this one. Um, I could change the seed for the spawner, but I'm pretty happy with the way it looks right now on the outside of this area. So if I move this one or reduce this, change the seed or reduce the spawn chance, it will be different outside as well. So I'm just gonna hide that one for now, since I used a very large spawning area to get all these things placed. So now I'm just manually adjusting the walls just a little bit to make sure that we have a decently smooth. Um, well, I think we got something to build off of here now. So if anyone is curious, you can create the landscape layer mask super fast if you just add a few things to the landscape material. Let me open it up and I can show you how. So we want to have a opacity mask here, but you won't be able to plug anything in here unless you go into the, if you just click on the blackboard in the background in the material, landscape material, you can change this one to masked. It will say opaque, but you can change it to mask. And once you do that, and you have it set as masked, you can add something to the opacity mask, which is just a landscape visibility mask. That's it. And when you do have that one added to the opacity mask, you just click apply, and you go over here, and you should be able to, if you go into the landscape tools, you will have the visibility thingy somewhere there. So you press the sculpt and then visibility. And since we have a mask now, I can paint here and it should disappear. So this way we can create sort of holes in the landscape to create caves and whatnot. That's a pretty nifty thing to be able to do. Yeah, it's a super quick tutorial. Let's move these back a bit. Now we want to create a general feeling of a wall, I suppose. So this would be a tunnel going through towards the snowy area and the Goblin Fort and all those things. So I guess we can just keep it as sort of a man-made or a humanoid-made thing, and assume that we don't have to create it. We don't have to make this kind of natural-looking cave. We just have to make it look like it's a easy way to get around, basically. So maybe something like that, and we're going to make a few changes to the details later. Um, Maybe, I don't know, kind of wanted something here, but we might have to manually place this one if we don't get. Actually, that's pretty good. Then we just grab another one, spin it around like so, and we got a solid wall. And what we want to do now to make it look even more natural is, I guess, pull these down. And we would like to offset the minimum and the maximum height just to not make it this like perfect line that's created here. So I'm going to make them randomly go up or down between a distance. All right, let's see here. So let's make them go to minimum and maximum. So we have a difference of 400 units, like so. So now we broke up the lines quite a bit. I'm still not perfectly happy with it, but it looks way better. Um, so we're going to dress the outside later. So I'm not worried about everything clipping here right now because it's going to be hidden real soon. Uh, but this might be perfectly fine actually. So let's add a location. Location range. What did we say? We used between negative and let's do 200, I think. And now this is going to be applied to the wall too when I duplicate it, move it back a little bit, and I'm going to scale it. And the reason I would do it from this side is because we changed the sort of the road spline to a different shape, and then we copied the right side. So I'm just making sure that the same shape is on both sides. Oh, I think actually this is not the right option. Is this a... Oh, there it is. Like so. Move it back a bit. Just making sure. Okay, so what I want to do now is just polish this just a tiny bit. Make it look a little bit better. And what I want to do is avoid large clipping into like this, because the larger scale objects will have a lower amount of detail, and I'd much rather have higher amount of detail in the position where you're close. And something else that will be added in a uh, as a detail real soon is the post-processing effect that will help us sort of hide the details a little bit, so we don't have to add too much stuff here. Maybe something like that. Let's see. Yeah, I think this looks kind of cool. I forgot one thing though. Should probably move this one down a bit. Or we might even have to rotate. Actually, I'm just gonna move down this spline point. It was the only one. So we had a little bit of a gap there, but it's easy enough to fix. Something like that. So, and what we could do now, if we would like, is to create just a copy of these, lift them up a little bit, and then change the rotation settings. I don't really like this, so we might want to change the seed of these guys a little bit. Let's randomize it. We might want to move them into the wall a little bit as well. Do we have any opinions on the way this looks now? It looked like the chat was disconnected. Is there anyone out there? Audio stream. Sounds like I do have some issues. Hold on. All right. And as soon as I'm done just adjusting these blind points, I definitely go into save. Don't want to lose all this progress. So another question is, what would we like to do next? Either the roof, from, looking from the inside, or the post-processing? Actually, I think the post-processing might be perfect for us. Let's just copy this guy, and then we move it over to our position. So snap object to you. And this looks just fine. We might have to tweak it actually, but will work. The thing I want to do. Tunnel underscore pp. We got our tunnel pp here. No, let's take the name change. I'm just going to change the rotation to align it better. Then I'm going to move it over here. And what I want to do next is to simply make sure it's where the player is supposed to walk. So we might want to start faded in where the player enters the tunnel and not outside, for example. We get to try it out. So I think this position is probably good, but doing it this way is going to cause a little bit of a problem, I think. So we have to rotate it like so, and then move it a little bit towards this area and scale it up just a little bit. Now when we walk, it should start exactly when we're here. It should start getting darker. It's not going to be this dark when we have it running. So let's move it just a little bit more, like so. That's perfect. Then we're going to make it less exaggerated once So it should be the exposure, I think. Yeah. So we have the exposure compensation here. Let's change it to -2. So this was -3, maybe 1.5, like so. I think that should be perfectly fine. Let's save and try it. I added a lantern to the um, Evelyn's tool belt as well, so can try activating the light with that one as well. We walk in here, should start getting a little bit darker. We can add the lantern. I think that turned out quite nicely. I think that maybe we could look into the audio area. I think we have a perfect tool to make something cool here. We have a inside trigger to sort of dampen the sound when we walk inside, which could possibly be quite cool, I think. Place outside, place inside. So maybe let's try this. Oh, this doesn't want to do that. Maybe we had to scale it like this then. Oh. Okay, so I can't scale it that way. So I have to scale the boxes. Wait. Let's do 5, 5. Outside, 5, 5, 5. So what I want to do now, oh wait, it's supposed to be 1. So I want to see if we can fade the sounds out when we go into the cave. Then we could add a bunch of other things as well, like a reverb profile to make it echo and stuff if we walk in there. But it depends on how much detail we want to add. Yeah, so it seems to be working quite well. So what we want to do now is to change the volume. So over 2 seconds, it changes the volume down to 0.0, no, sorry, 0.2. So let's see what the effect will be now. I don't even know if you can actually hear it or not, but no, I can't actually hear it at all. I'm missing something. Probably very stupid. Let's grab the world music area. Grab this one. Reverb area name. No. It should be fine though. Wait, hold on. Is it because we have the ambient music? Let's just swap this one out here and clear this one. Now we could set this one to 0.45. So I think it will actually just muffle ambient music or ambient noises. Music? Oh no. Oh, okay, so I tried to fade it in. Didn't work for some reason. Let's try it again. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so it just doesn't grab a value for the fade in node. To read music sound 1. Oh, okay. So if we just have a cue for this one then, that's perfect. Let's still throw error? No? Yeah, okay, so we tried to grab an empty music slot. It's interesting. So there's no issue with the music part here. It's just that the ambient music won't trigger because I added it into the random ambient noise. Jeez. Yeah. It's supposed to be there. Alright. I wonder if that one goes under the well, no. Doesn't matter. Let's see if the muffled sound works now. Yeah, okay, so now it works. And now we want to walk in here and it should muffle the ambience. Yeah, that's way clearer. And when we go back outside, yeah, this is really cool. So if we remove the empty one, let's see if it still throws an error. No errors, that's great. Awesome. Alright, so what we want to do now is just tweak the settings a little bit. We want to keep it a bit quieter. And I think we need to duplicate this one as well, actually. So let's just do this, then we duplicate it and we spin it around. Let's make sure the colors are on the correct side. They are. So we move these guys over to this place. This is where you can get some hope back for life again. Like so. We just kind of want to create a bottleneck. You can't really pass through without actually going through these guys. And that's generally a good thing to do. If you use any loading, if you use any loading functionalities or teleports or something like that, it will re-trigger. But if you manage to just walk past these, you're still in the world, and the instance of the player won't be removed and added back into the world again. So that might actually cause an issue. So what I want to try now, I want to save, and I want to try to walk through the entire tunnel and see if it sounds good and if it works when you go through the tunnel as well. Yep, I think we can basically reduce it to near zero actually. So we're already at 0.1, maybe 0.02. Just have it, it should still be there, but very, very muffled. And we in the last stage, I think we can try to add some echo to it as well. So let's see here. Cave, probably. I'm not sure how it will turn out with the ambient sounds. Doesn't really seem to be affecting this area, I think. Oh wait, do we need to add a thing like this? Do you apply reverb? some settings. Just 5x the multiplier for the inside volume. Let's see if it gives any. Indoor ambient amplitude. Sorry, multiplied. There. Yeah, so this one might actually go to 0.5 because I'm a dum-dum. Let's see if we get the proper reverb setting now. Yeah. But this doesn't work still. Reverb area name. So I think we might have to grab the world music texture again. Like so. And then let's get back to this guy and add verb area name like so. Let's see if it activates now, or we actually have to add a manual reverb effect. No, that's annoying. Alright. Well, the music works at least. Let's increase the size of the height of these guys. Same for the inside box. 10. Then we just grab this one, move it up. Like so. Probably going to block it off anyway, but for now, this is what we're gonna do. Right. What I'm doing is just Googling on the other monitor because I can't remember how to create the echo effect with a reverb area. I remember it's super simple and we have a reverb profile ready, but really can't remember. Adding a thing. Whoops, sorry. Oh, right, we might actually have to. Yeah, I think I remember something we have to do now. We need to enable. Maybe? Yeah, okay, so we need to override attenuation and then do the reverb thing to make sure it's actually. Well, I guess I'll just do it later then. Yeah, no point in getting stuck here. I'm going to fix this later. I can load in the temple because I already did it there once before. But I guess I'm going to have to check it later. Whoop. Sorry about that. That was definitely the wrong button. Well, looks like my chat is back. I wonder what that was. Anyway, in order to not get stuck here, I'm just going to continue for now. So I'm going to grab a copy of the large guys here, the cliffs that we created. I'm going to delete the first two spline points here to get a decently straight thingy. Move these guys up. And I'm going to utilize the same kind of principle as before. You know, we add the lower ones, the smaller ones in the front. The larger guys in the back. So I'm just going to grab this guy again. One solid position. Something like that, maybe. Then we just have to wrap this guy around. We're good to go. And we might want to look out for things that look extraordinarily stupid, but I think this is good. Right, excellent. So this is the first step. It doesn't look very natural. So the outside we want to have it look kind of natural-ish. But the inside will be very manufactured, so to speak. We wrap it a little bit more tightly here. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think so. Actually, no. Let's not do that. Let's grab a completely new one. Like that. Alright, so that's the first part. Now we just copy these guys, move them in, and add a larger scale on these guys. So let's double that one and maybe double that one as well. We start getting something. Can bake into the. You see how this clipping is alright? We add a little bit more detail to the closer to the player. Oh yeah, we are going to want, as all of these guys are placed over quite a large area, I want to utilize a hierarchical static instance static mesh, so we can make use of the LODs like so. Done. So that's for this part. I'm just going to grab a copy of these guys again. I'm going to move the first point, second point, just in there a little bit, and then delete the other guys like so. Move him over. We'll probably reduce the instances here quite a bit. Maybe try 45 of them. Yeah, that's good. So I'm still keeping the frame open here. So that one is going to be manually built. But I think these guys are going to blend in pretty well with the environment or the other cliffs. Oh, okay, so I'm getting I see. Well, that should be fine. Anyway, uh, yep. I'm taking another copy of these guys, and for now I'm just going to put these guys up here, and I'm going to actually try to blend these with some other type of cliffs as well, just to create a little bit of change, like so. Are these guys using... No, we're not overwriting the local... No, wait. Are we? Yeah, we're using instanced sizes, meaning we can add a single type of static mesh that is larger than the other guys. So let's do it with the last one we added. I'm gonna grab this guy, We're going to change the scale to be even larger, but only for this specific guy. This was the global setting, of course. Am I scrolling past it? I think I might be. Yep, there's the scale. So let's double the size of these guys. And yeah, that's turned out to be quite large. But it kind of looks good. Just have to dress it a bit. It looks more natural as well with all the obfuscation that is caused by the amount of random rotations. Like that. Go in here. We have a roof. It's a little bit too flat, but we can fix that. Just need to grab the proper splines. I think this might turn out quite well, actually. Maybe reduce the amount of instances a bit. Spawn chance 30%. 50. We might want to change the culling distance. Cull distance. Maybe 3 times that. We should keep it for quite a long time, I think. Yeah, about this area seems reasonable to start culling it. So this would be when you're in the forest part here. Or sorry, the snowy part. Yeah. If we do it just a little bit more, 1,000 units more, like so. Now you won't be able to see when it starts culling because you're physically bound to the area. Alright. These guys, these guys, these guys, and these guys. Let's add 6,000 units to those guys. Meaning you need to be this far away until it starts to cull the cliffs. But since you're entering this way, you'll never be able to see it. Alright. So now what? Maybe about these? Nah, I don't think. Doesn't really make sense. I think we're gonna add something manually there. But what I want to do, however, is to make a larger offset here. Negative 500. Let's do 500. That's increasing the difference on the cliffs outside here, like that. Just to make them blend a little bit better. We might even actually do a little bit toward the other directions as well. That's outwards to create a sort of a less perfect exterior. The negative value on the y-axis will be the outwards from the wall. And we have the moving back toward the wall in the positive value. Great. So I want to make a few more changes before I do this, but we are going to instance all the manually placed leaves as well. Like here, I have 60 cliffs of the same type. So if we instance these, they will just it will be way more performant. It will reduce the amount of draw calls and keep the environment more performant. All right, so let's make something, shall we? Want to add something like this? Maybe. Maybe. So we want to press this area first. Maybe we should use the chunky parts. Oh no. Oh boy. Let's just leave that guy over there. Then we take this one. Because that's the entrance. Isn't going to fit perfectly, but it's a quick way to start the whole thing. Yeah, I think this is definitely good enough. This one. You, you. I think we need you. Let's just copy that one, move it in like so. And then put this guy, spin it around a little bit, change the rotation. Like that. So now I'm just going to add the cliffs to cover the holes. Like that. Is this too big? Yeah, maybe. I think we can reduce the size of the entrance a little bit. We can start the play from here. Yeah, it definitely needs to be reduced, but it's going to be quite easy to do it, so no worries. We're just going to make smaller copies of these guys. Just look so small, it's crazy. Almost like you have to squeeze through. See how it looks in game. So we just have to tilt it outwards a bit and it will be alright. like something like that, and then move it up, move it out. Oh, right. Yeah, that makes sense. So due to the inside coming in from a higher angle, slightly tilted upwards, this is going to be a bit weird from the inside, but still too open from the outside. So what I want to do is just fix this for the inside and grab another one, which we reduce the size of quite a bit. Add it so. Have a little bit more room for the head. On the inside, so still get a little bit more of the cramped entrance on the outside.